Good afternoon. Ken Jolliffe with BIS Commodities here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're going to summarize the week's events within particularly the grain markets here. A week that started out pretty slow and built up naturally towards the USDA crop report that was released yesterday at 7:30 a.m. And as seems with any report anymore, there's always a surprise somewhere that causes a sharp reaction in future prices. And again, we saw it again yesterday too. So to go through some of the numbers here this afternoon with you, we're going to start out with the corn number yesterday. Overall production number came out at 10,700,000,000 bushels, which was down just slightly, from the September number. They lowered the yield by about just under a bushel per acre. There were some minor adjustments in the planted acres and harvested acres to bring us to this production number. Now when we take a look at this, we have to add the carryout number that was shown to us 2 weeks ago of 988 million. So we bring a supply into us this year of 11,769,000,000 bushels of the corn. The demand numbers yesterday were just tweaked, minor tweaks in them. The total usage we're going to be looking at projected right now 11,150,000,000. It brought us a carryout number yesterday of 619 million. Now this carryout number was less than the trade expected. Some of us expected to see some additional cuts maybe in the demand side of things that we didn't see yesterday. Thus the surprise from there caused the sharply higher future prices yesterday for the corn market. Bean numbers yesterday, we came into the report, knowing that we were probably going to see a bigger bean yield, and we got it by about 2.5 bushel per acre. It brought the production number up to 2,860,000,000 bushels. That added to the carryout number of a couple of weeks ago of 169 million brings a total supply of beans to 3,050,000,000. Now with that increase in the yield and the increase in the carryout number from 2 weeks ago, we came down to the demand side of things, and we absorbed most of that increase in supply in the demand, as we saw the USDA raise the crush usage number, and they also raised the export number, which came to a total of about 250 million bushels. So the overall bottom line of things here again keeps things tight. A month ago we were at 115 million bushel projected carryout. Yesterday they were at 130 million projected carryout. So the market had a positive reaction to this yesterday over this. Now today we had a sharply lower market. We had a couple of rumors rolling around of some hedge funds eliminating their positions in the ag community. We also had some talk of some additional possible purchases of Brazilian corn coming into the United States, both in the southeast part of the country and possibly even into the California area. So we did see a sell-off here, today in the corn market. It brought us back to where for the week the corn market's up roughly 4 cents over a week ago Friday. The bean market's down about 22 cents from last week, and the wheat market's basically unchanged. Taking a look at some of these numbers we move forward, one would suspect with the harvest activity being probably beyond 80% complete when we come in here Monday afternoon, with the harvest in the far eastern corn belt being about all that's left to be completed. That the overall picture on the corn, when you look at the supply versus the demand of the 619 million bushel carryout, maybe there's some minor tweaks as to go ahead, but what it really shows us is we do have a tight carryout supply here in the United States. We also have a tight supply of corn, in the world, as they lowered the overall carryout for coarse grain by about 7 million metric tons yesterday. So it appears that it gives us a corn market that is going to be well supported on breaks. That's a corn market that will be very well used by the end users on any pullbacks, but it's also a market that we probably aren't going to see a sharp rise in the futures prices like we saw this summer. One more of maybe a two-step forward, step and a half backwards as we move into the the next few weeks of this month and towards the Thanksgiving time frame. Bean market probably pretty much the same, as we did see some technical chart concerns at the level we closed at here today, but I think as we move forward we can look at the export sales side of the equation. This week's exports on soybeans were only 500,000 metric tons, as the Chinese were on autumn festival last week, which had most of their trading desks closed down. But there was a lot of talk here today with the break of the futures market that they were back in there, looking to price, 6 to 12 cargoes of soybeans. I'm sure we'll continue to see that, as they continue to be active in our markets, and we are seeing, some of the other routine countries, in our bean market too, as we do come down to being the only supply of beans here for the time frame of now until Brazil and the South American harvest comes to their time frame of next May area. So it'll be interesting to see how all this comes about in the next few weeks as we wrap up the harvest, we shut down the bins, and we see what the end user has to do to entice to get the grain to move into the channels at that particular time. We've seen corn basis levels begin to firm in the west, as processors were paying to get supplies into to their plants. Bean basis is slowly starting to improve. As we move forward, the export market will be looking to continue to come after cash grain supplies of soybeans. One must remember that when we look at what has gone on this fall, everything started early. As we're well aware of, we saw internet pictures going around this week of huge piles of soybeans on the ground up in the Dakotas. But remember that as we plan our logistics coming into the harvest activity like this, we knew the export program was stalling for soybeans. Typically we don't harvest the crop in late August and September like this, so put some pressure on the elevators, I'm sure, especially out in those areas, to handle the crop early, and now they're in the process of loading their shuttle trains and moving it out into the export market. But the export market of soybeans, I think, will continue to be very strong, as we just kind of summarize that because of the Chinese business. The export market on the corn side is going to be one that very suspect, as the sales numbers this morning was near zero, very little interest. We still have supplies of corn, available corn, coming out of Brazil. Thus the rumors that we saw in our market today, and we still see corn move into what would be considered our traditional markets of, the Koreans, the Japanese, and the Southeast Asia type markets. So very competitive that way on corn. To kind of summarize, where we are and maybe what's ahead here is that we need to watch these basis levels for both corn and soybeans as they begin to firm up, as these end users need to accumulate cash bushels yet, whether it's for the domestic market on the corn side of things, or if it's the export market on soybean side of things. But that may be one thing that leads our market. It may be more of a basis, firm spreads type market. If you take a look at not only the cash carries, which are pretty much non-existent, take a look at the board right now, and we're inverting the futures market also, because of the tight supplies, and the need to accumulate some bushels this time. So watch your basis levels out there. Watch the invert in the market here, as that can be a key indicator to when to release some of these cash bushels that we've now got stored in the bins back into the marketplace. So the futures market, I think, is still going to be quite choppy as we move into the next few weeks. It's a market that doesn't have the firepower underneath it that we had earlier this summer, when we had the ongoing drought and the supply scare. Now that we have a somewhat good idea of the supply is that we're going to be choppy. Naturally, as we move forward, as we get closer to late October into the November time frame, we're going to be looking at a situation of paying a close attention to the southern hemisphere, as we know that they have a setup very similar to what we went through this spring. You're going to see a record amount of hectares planted down there. If the weather allows them, it's going to be planted quickly, like we had up here. If Mother Nature allows it, we also will be looking at record crops in those areas down in there. But as we all know, we have no control over that. We've been through that this summer up here, going from what appeared to be a record crop to one that's been severely stricken by the drought conditions. So the market will pay attention to that. I'm sure we're going to get tired of talking about South America weather before Christmas is even getting here, but that'll probably be the next driver in our futures market if we are to spark this thing a lot higher at that particular time. But as of the nearby things, pay attention to the cash market, pay attention to basis levels, and see if that tells you when to move some of these cash bushels again. So if you got any questions out there, please contact us here in Cedar Rapids. Phone number is 800-373-2525. Get a shot, give us a call, take a look at our website at BIScommodities.com. So appreciate it. See you next week.